Ooh, gamers. I've been up to something the past couple of months ever since I've gotten Carcassonne. This has been a really great game for me and my gaming group, and I decided to go and buy as many of the mini expansions as I could, or trade for them or collect them. And I wanted to show all of the mini expansions that I have on this video. Let's check them out. All right, there's a lot to review here, but I'm going to go with the easier ones and then finish with the harder ones. Let's start off with the gifts. These are the gifts. Every time you complete a road, a monastery, a city, or help another person score, you can grab one of these. These give you little helps in the game. For instance, you can grab 2 tiles and pick one and then discard the other, put the other back. You can put your meeple in a space with another space of someone else's monastery. You can go ahead and complete an unfinished city if you don't think you're ever going to complete it for the full 2 victory points. Or if you're stuck on a dead end road, you don't think it's going to go anywhere, you can go ahead and score it for full price. This one you can lay down to a farmer, from a city to a farmer, if you just want to jump into the farmland and hang out there. And basically, I think those are it. But they're kind of the same. So you got 6 different types, but you can always get one of those nice little gifts by helping someone out. Next one is this GQ or G7. I can't remember what it is. This is one of the promos that's on Board Game Geek. It's just extra tiles in your game. That's all it is. There's some unique tiles in here, but I mean, other than that, it's just extra bonus tiles. Same thing. I got these little Spiel promos, the Spiel Dork promos, you know. That's all they are, just 2 extra tiles in the game. Other just little tiles in the game is their Ukraine promo. It says, hey, make up whatever rules you want. Yeah, it's just a tile. This one here is the maze. There's a new version of this too, but they're both the same. Basically, it just connects all the roads together, and so you keep on moving. The other ones here is the cult, and how the cult works. Whenever you play this, you play it next to a building, a city, a road, a monastery, or city or road. And what you're doing is you're challenging that other player. So, for instance, if you can finish that road, or city or monastery that they're in, if you finish it for them, then you'll get the points instead of them. I really kind of like that because it's a race to finish whatever project that other meeple is on, and you'll put your guy on this little cult status there. The next one is Siege. This one's just for the old art here. But whenever you play this on someone, just has these little angry people all around here about trying to siege the city. If you're playing this on someone and they're in an unfinished city at the end of the game, that city is worth 0 points. Instead of half points, it's worth 0 because they played one of these 4 siege cards. The next one is these little halfling tiles. Basically, what you're going to do is just flip this over with the number of players, and they can play any of these little halvesy tiles on their turn instead of taking a regular turn. And there are some expansions here, like the farm, and I noticed another one earlier, and I can't. Oh yeah, the sheep one too, if you notice. So some of the other expansions are in this as well. But you're basically just going to divide these up and then give them among the players, and they can just play a halvesy instead of a full one. The next one is these big castles. Basically, you're going to give every player one of these, shuffle them up and give every player one. And they, instead of playing a regular tile from the tower, they can just basically play one of these. It's just a bigger tower, basically roads. Nothing big with the castles, just a bigger tile. The next one is the festivals, and these festivals have this little celebrating 15. So maybe they're celebrating 15 years, I guess, of Carcassonne. I don't know. Anyway, but as you're playing these here, when you play a little festival token, you may put a player down on the tile or remove a player from the board. So if you think, oh man, I'm never going to score this or that or whatever, you can remove one from the board. So I kind of like that. The next one is the watchtowers. And when you play these, nothing really happens. You can play your meeple as normal. But when you surround that tile, whoever does that will score the point. So this one gets 1 victory point for every city tile this is touching. This gets 2 victory points for every meeple who's touching it here. This one gets 2 victory points for every shield it's touching. 1 victory point for every road that's touching this tile. And basically, they're all the same, but that's the watchtowers. Next up is the fruit trees. You have these little trees notified by the little tree indentation here, but you'll see the little fruit trees there. When you play one of the fruit trees, you're going to play one of the 6 fruits that are in this game, and then put one of those types out. Just put a whole stack of them out there. And so what you're going to do is you're going to pull the top one when you play this and get this one's 5 victory points. They're not all the same. There could be different victory points. And then you're going to score victory points depending on how many different types of fruit you have. You get no victory points for having the same fruit, but every time you play next to this tile, because let's say it's a little cherry tree here. So every time the first person who gets it gets one, and they got 2 victory points. And you see, how many do you have of these? Well, I only have one, so I get 3 victory points. If I had 2 different types of fruit after I grabbed the cherries, I would get 6 victory points. If I had 3 different types of fruit after grabbing the cherries, I get 10 victory points. And if I had 4 different kinds of fruit, I would get 15 points. And that's the maximum type you can have. But remember, nothing. You get nothing for doubles. You get nothing for doubles. So it basically teaches you to just play once around every one of these trees. But remember, there's only 4. So in a 5-player game, someone might not be getting them. But you get some big scores when you play this one. Moving right along is the Phantoms. I really love this one. Basically, you're getting a meeple of your color. And when you play them, these are kind of translucent here. You can play them on a road or city that's occupied by another player. So basically, you can share and kind of score those points. Everyone gets 1 Phantom each. The next one is the school. Basically, this is a little starting tile promo where you have these 2 tiles here, and you're connecting them together, and then you're going to get a meeple that is of different colors than whoever's playing. So if no one's playing pink or black, that's what you're going to do. And so every round, so let's say no one's playing green or whatnot. In fact, one of these translucent ones are white, so we kind of use this one here. So this is the teacher. The first person to finish one of the roads scores the road and gets the teacher. The next one of these roads that gets completed, that person scores the roads, and you get the victory points because you have the teacher. But then you have to give the teacher to the next person who scored the road, and so on and so forth. Now, if you score the road and have the teacher, nothing else happens. So you want other people to score these roads so you can get those points too, and then they'll get the teacher. Now, once the last road is completed, then the teacher goes away, and basically this tile is null and void. The next expansion is called Drawbridges. As you see, it has a little emblem right there. And when you play these, if you complete the road that is connected to a little drawbridge city, if this city isn't completed, you can go ahead and just walk right into it. As long as it's connected, the road's connected to a drawbridge, even if there's another meeple there. So just another way to sneak into those cities and maybe steal some points. This one is called the signpost. And what it means is kind of confusing at first, but then we figured it out. Once a road is complete, you will score it as normal, 1 victory point each, plus another victory point if the arrow matches where the road goes. So for instance, if this road goes straight, like this one, there we go, I would get an additional victory point because it goes straight. Now here, I would not get the victory point because it's supposed to go down. But if I had another one, here we go, like this one, then that would also give me a victory point. I would have gotten a victory point if the road curved down there. This one has to be straight. Oh, look at that. So I get another point there. And I would get this point here because this one goes down like this. Now, you're not going to play all these together, but basically, if the road does according to what the signposts say, you'll get an additional victory point. Next one up is the bathhouses, or barber surgeons, I think is what they call it online. But basically, what you're playing, you're going to score that road or city and score these points in there. And then you got to put your meeple in an unoccupied bathhouse. Not the one you just scored, an unoccupied one on the board. And when you do that, 2 things are going to happen. He's trapped here unless you pay the number of points that's shown above, or the tile is surrounded. When the tile is surrounded, you can get your meeple back. And that's the barber surgeons, or bathhouses is what it really should be called. Next up is the bets. I love the bets. Whenever you get these little emblems here, as you see the little bet tokens there, you're going to use one of your bet tokens. Everyone's going to place their bet tokens down, and they're going to guess how many points will be scored. Whenever this gets scored, whenever this tile gets scored, whether it's a road or a city, how many points is it going to be? The first time it scores, not both times, the first time. Once it scores, we flip it over. Whoever got it right will also get those points. If you nailed it and said 4 on the dot, you'll get an additional 8 victory points here. But you're just trying to guess. There's like 5 and plus more, or 3 to 6. So everyone's putting them face down on here, and they're betting. And of course, if they get it right, they get the point. The next one is the wind roses. This is a starting tile. So basically, you'll play it here. And for every time someone grabs one of these other wind roses, if they play it that matches the same orientation, so if north matches north or south matches south, whatnot, then you would get 3 additional victory points. Now, the only thing is you'd shuffle this blue one in, and when someone gets the blue one, they get 3 victory points. Then they can orient it however they want, and now that's north and south, or that's north and south. And so any other ones that come up must match the blue instead of the orange to get those 3 victory points. The next one is called the Peasants' Revolt. You can see here these little emblems here. Those diamond-shaped emblems show that it's the Peasants' Revolt. You see these little peasants revolting. When you play one of these, you have to remove one of your meeples if you have one from a road or from a city, or from a monastery. Now, to avoid that, it says you can take one of your meeples, and when you place them, on a road, city, for any time, you can lay them down for 4 victory points. When they score, they will get you 2 victory points back. But what it does, a laid down meeple on, a monastery, a road, or a city cannot be impacted by this signal here. So he's kind of fortified, protected from the peasants. But it's going to cost you basically 2 victory points to do that. But that's the Peasants' Revolt. The next one, I'm going to put these together. These are like the Japanese buildings and I can't remember what they used to call these. I think they're called monasteries or something. Yeah, monasteries. And so it says here you have to play the abbot on these, but these score kind of neat at the end of the game. So at the end of the game, you're going to score. Let's say I put my abbot here, and later on in the game, I don't know, this. Let's just put some. Now remember, all these tiles work the same though. So at the end of the game, this is, well, I'll put one up here. This is what it looks like. So there you go. So that's how it looks. I mean, there's other things in the board, but you're only looking at orthogonally. You're going to get a victory point for every tile that's orthogonally of this one. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, it could go all the way up or all the way over. You can get even more victory points. Okay, but you're going to score these little Japanese buildings or monasteries at the end of the game with your abbot, and they could lead to some big buku points, especially if they're located in the middle of the map. All right, the next one here is little buildings. Basically, you're going to divide these out to all the players, and they can play these on a road. When they do that, when they score that road, they're going to get an additional victory point for every, cottage or whatnot. Some of these have like little towns or little cottages or stables on the tiles. You'll score a victory point for every one that's on the side of that road, plus the one on your little building. So just an extra way to score extra victory points. Next one here is the cathedrals here. And I believe you do have to pay your abbot here, but these work a little bit differently. You play him there, he stays there to the end of the game, or unless it's all the roads are completed. What you're going to do, if a road loops around to the church, you will get double the victory points for each tile that road is on. So if you want to loop these around, that'd be very good. Now, for everyone that's completed at the end of the game, you will get a full victory point for each road that's connected. So you definitely want to get all of these connected. And I believe if all the roads are connected, then you can remove your little abbot from the tile. Next one is the Markets of Leipzig. This is a starting tile that, I can't remember how it goes. I think it goes like this, something like this. Yeah, that looks good enough. And so basically you set it up, it's a starting tile. Anyone who completes these 4 roads can go into the city of Leipzig and stay on any one of these, even if other players are there. So for instance, if red was already here, blue could be there again. Let's say red finished another one and they want to go there again, they could, whichever corner of the map they want. And what they do is they remove these once in the game to help score some extra bonus points when scoring something. So for instance, for roads, they get a bonus victory point for every road they complete. Or if they complete a monster, they get a bonus 4 points. Or if they complete a city, they get 3 points for each shield instead of 2. And this one's for the farmer. When the farmer, on top of getting all the victory points for completed cities, they will also get an additional 2 victory points for every cottage that they are connected to. And that is the Markets of Leipzig here. The next one is the Wonders, and these are big honking tiles. And basically every player is going to start with one. And here's how it works. This is a little bit different. So I brought in the scoreboard to kind of show you. Each player is going to have their meeples standing on the 10. Okay? And the first person that gets their meeple up to 10 will take their 2 meeples and they get their wonder, whatever their wonder is. The other meeples move up to 15. And of course, if he moves past 15, nothing happens. But let's say yellow got their second. Well, now yellow takes his and his wonder, and these go to 20. Okay, so you see how it works. So the longest it can go to 25 points before that person gets it. Now, when you play your wonder, of course, you're not playing your regular tile on there, but you're just playing the wonder, and you can place up to 2 meeples on it if you want to. But each one of these score points different ways here. So, for instance, if you're in Notre Dame, you're going to get 3 victory points for every tile that this is connected to. So that could be a lot of victory points. If you play Stonehenge, then what you're going to get is 3 victory points per tile on a completed road. So if you can complete all 3 of these roads, no matter how long they go, you'll get 3 victory points for each tile. So that could be big. Circus Maximus is really good because at the end of the game, depending on the number of players, you will get victory points for every meeple who is in an unfinished city. So every meeple in an unfinished city. If it's a 2-player game, you're going to get 4 victory points for each meeple. If it's a 3 to 4 player game, you're getting 3 victory points for each meeple. And if it's a 5-player game, you're getting 2 victory points for each meeple in an unscored city. That's each and every one, even your own. That's pretty good. And then finally is the Alhambra. What you're doing is when you score your farmers, you are also getting extra points for them. So you're going to get extra 4 VP for any farmers that you have in the field. Okay. And those are the wonders there. The next one I want to talk about is the toll keepers, I guess. Everyone's going to start with a little toll keeper thing. You have these extra tiles you're going to put in the game. You have these little toll emblems there. And when you play one of these, you have an option. You can play a meeple as normal, or you can play your toll and bring your toll in the game. What the toll does, you attach it to one of these roads. And as it goes by, when that road is completed, whether by you or another player, you're going to score 1 victory point for every building, little building that is attached to these roads. So like the stables, the cottages, and whatnot. Now, if there's a traveler on that road, you will get 3 victory points as well. After that, you'll upgrade this to a 2. Now it's null and void, but on your next turn, if you played a tile, but you didn't want to place a meeple, you could move your toll bridge to another unfinished road that no one is on yet. An unfinished road that no one's on. That way, next time you'll get 2 victory points for every small little building that's on the side of the road, and 6 victory points if it's a traveler. You do not get the points if it is you who is the traveler. It has to be someone else who's paying your toll. But that is the toll bridges there. The next one is their tunnels, I guess. And this one you start with 2 of these little tunnel tokens. Every player does. And so whenever you place one of these 4, basically you're going to place your little token and say, hey, my road is still continuing. And then later on, when another player places this tile, then, in player order, as it's going around the board, you may say, okay, and I'm also here. So now I go here, now I go here, and keep continuing. So you can keep continuing a road, hopefully, to score some big victory points. But watch out, because there's only 4 tunnels in the game. And the last one here is La Plague here. The Plague, you have these little plague tokens here. It looks like spy versus spy. But when you play them, you'll put out the numbers 1 through 6 on here. So if I played this, it'd be a 1. And then I would put out 1 little plague flea in any orthogonally placed area. After that, when 2 comes out, then I'll place 1 here. And the next player who goes after me will place another flea next to the other flea there. So these fleas will go out and invade things. Now, if a flea comes across a tile that a meeple is on, that meeple is removed from the game. Removed from the board, removed from the board. And if the meeple can move if there's room on their road. They can move 1 space down the road. They can't cross over any, flies here, but mosquitoes. But if they can keep traveling down that road if there's room, they can keep moving around that city if there's room. They can keep moving across that field if there's room. Eventually, they may be cornered by the plague and die or just removed from the game. Now, eventually, when you get to 5 or 6, you're going to run out of fleas. So when you do that, some of these are going to go extinct. Starting with the lowest, you will make it extinct. Now, anything that's extinct, also the little flies go extinct. Now, you can choose these flies to put on the next one, usually 5 and 6. You'll put those there. And if you need to pull more, of course, you'll make 2 extinct. Not many will go extinct. Now, the fleas will not go extinct if they're already touching an active flea. So in one game we had, both of these were pretty close together. We threw an extinction on this one, but it was still connected to 2, the tiles and tiles way. So it still was legit. Then we had to close this one and then finally kill off all the fleas in that little area just to start pulling from 5 or 6. So it's possible in a game, and some of the games we played, to have like 4 of these actually go, basically they just go away and the play kind of just dies off. But that is all the mini expansions that I have for Carcassonne. Final thoughts. What do I think about all those mini expansions? Well, we've played with all of them at least once, sometimes twice. We really love Carcassonne. We've been playing a whole heck of a lot of it. Some of them are really, really fun. Some are meh, but a lot of them are really fun. We really had fun with these. Now, here's the question. Should you get them? No. Way too much money. Way too much money. Now, here's the deal. I made some trades. I used a bunch of gift cards, and I spent money. I gave myself a late or early, whether you look at it, it was a late Christmas present or early birthday present. I ain't buying any more after that. But I basically got everything. The only things I don't have are some of the maps, which I didn't really want to get. And the Spiel came out with these promos every year since like 2015. And those cards, they're nothing special about those tiles, and they're worth about $30 each. I'm not going to be collecting those. I say that now. No, I'm not going to get them. I don't think I am. I think I'm done. But all the mini expansions are great. The one thing I don't like, and I still have to complain about this on the big box. The big box can't even fit the tower. It wasn't designed to fit the tower, but I wish they would have put more. I love the little trays in there. I wish they would have put more. I know there's not someone like me they were anticipating who would buy everything Carcassonne to put in here. But what I'm going to do, I do want it to fit all in the big box. So sadly, the insert had to go. And that way I can fit everything and the tower in there in one big happy Carcassonne. Would I play all of them together? Heck no. Who would remember all those rules? But overall, it's really fun. Some better than others. I want to make this video so you could take a look at which ones do what and maybe make a decision if you want to get one or two, I guess. But again, unless you're like a big Carcassonne fan, you can go ahead and just avoid this and just go with the expansions or whatnot. But I love the game, so I had to get as much of it as I could, and I just really enjoy them. I really enjoy a lot of these little mini expansions. They really do a good job separating them and making them feel different. All right, folks, that was a long one today, but thanks for sticking with me if you did. And until next time, you know what to do. Game on!